I had heard the rumors. Through a misguided miracle, a man had come back from time, endowed with powers that could reveal the very meaning of life. If ever we needed a champion, it was now. In his time, he was one of many, quite ordinary, so the story goes. But now, because of mad science gone wrong, combined with some incredible luck for us, he is back. Our last champion of the 60s, here for the 90s. I knew only that he is called the Freethinker. I have to find that man. Come along if you can. Come along if you dare.
Welcome, everyone. I am the Freethinker. Are you? We're back in the studio tonight with the interview portion of the Freethinker Show. Things are really moving fast for us, for myself and for the show. We're only 3 months into production, and already I've been able to locate, with the help of a private detective, a man who has endured a similar experience to mine. We found him through a poem he recently published called Rip Woke Up Too Soon. And it also turns out that he's running for president. Imagine that. So here, let's welcome, on the Freethinker Show, the last American beatnik. What can we call you? Hip cats, who know where it's at, call me Digger. I was born George Reynolds, and like you, Freethinker, I must wear these shades. But unlike you, I remember everything about my past. What I've had a hard time with is believing. I've been so far out for so many years. 33, man, can you dig that? Now I know, we've talked a lot about already our common experiences, and I can't figure out which is more hard to understand. We share so much, and yet we are so much different. I know the Freethinker audience is dying to hear about your campaign, but first, can you tell us a little bit about you and the beat generation? After all, you are the forerunner to the hippie. That's cool. But man, remember, what seems like last month to me was a long time ago. And lately, I've been catching up on that gap and working on the future. The great big daddy made me young in the 90s for a reason. You know, I'm the only man who's in his 20s and in his 60s at the same time. But it gets hazy when I talk about the past, because it's just not that way to me. Please forgive my insensitivity. So, how did you get to the beat scene? That's okay, Cat. I can handle it. Dig? I've always had a poet inside of me trying to get out. Now, you hippie cats sure took the beat on down the line. But where I came from, there wasn't anything like that. I was born under Depression. I survived the Korean War, then came McCarthyism, and the duck and cover paranoia of the Russians are coming. So, like most seekers of truth, I took a long trip. I went west. I went west as far as I could go to meet the East. They come together in a little coffee house back in San Francisco. There I fell in with some heavy cats and some heavy vibes I could not deny. This was a mystical time and place that today is only a fantasy. And I'm plenty steamed that it was taken away from me. Anyone who watches this show knows that I was nabbed thumbing on the way home from Woodstock. What happened to you? Well, I stopped by City Lights. It's a bookstore, not a restaurant. And I was going to drop off a poem I just finished, and these two squares asked me about my friend, Allen Ginsberg. You know, I eyeballed them to be G-Men Fuzz, straight from Cube City. And I split, back to my pad to get the word out. But two more of these squares nabbed me in the alley, and one jabbed me with a hypo. And next thing I know, I'm in a hotel room in Toledo, Ohio, that is, laying there wondering what the heck's going on. I found a letter. They told me that it was much later than I thought it was, and a bank account. I couldn't believe any of it at first. But man, I was smart enough to keep my mouth shut. Kind of shocking when you first come to, ain't it?